Hey guys, hope you're good. This is Max from MHS Pod, and today we will do an incredible Cinema 4D tutorial about camera movement. We will see how we can face problems that we have in cinema and how every people can improve their workflow. So today we will keep things simple but make them really efficient. I give a lot of lessons online and also in real school. You can see that I'm the cool teacher here, and I've blurred the face of my student because I don't want them to upload a picture on Facebook and then you have their mom asking, hey, who's that handsome guy? Then they are saying, hey, it's my teacher, and I don't want troubles. So I faced a lot of people always asking the same question, about camera. They have a camera, they set a lot of keyframes, they try to make a movement, and then they imagine that this will move around the object because they've made some rotation around the object. But when you watch the keyframes, you end up with a movement like that, which is pretty disturbing. And another problem they face is having all those curves, too much curves to understand. And most of them came from After Effects, motion design, with something easier to deal with. So today we will focus on really basic but useful tools that everybody should know in cinema. I hope that even professionals will learn something. And if you're new to this channel, I really invite you to check out our Facebook group called Motion Designers Community. A lot of talents there. That's my favorite piece from today. And yeah, a lot of people, a lot of incredible talents. And you can see we have flat design, we have 3D artists, we have some guys doing VFX motion design, we have guys this is the baby Tesla. So this guy is not having the kind of buzz he should expect, because mixing Baby Yoda and the Cybertruck would be explode the universe. But internet is special. It's not always working like you expect. So join the community, of course. Subscribe to the Instagram. Sorry, I share every day nice pictures, and I will give some big ups in this video. A Design, Grayscale Gorilla, and a few friends of me who made really nice videos. But we will see that when the time comes. So I'm just ready to start. Maybe I've talked too much, but I'm not a YouTube guy. I put my camera on, I make my tutorial, I don't edit my tutorial, and I put it online, So let's start and do something real. First of all, you have your camera, and it's totally fine if you have some kind of simple movement to use this button, because if you're just making something like that, and then you want that as linear, that's the best way and the fastest way to do this movement. So there's no problem, except if you're like me and you don't know how to properly record keyframes because you were not in the camera. So thumbs down, no, thumbs up for me. I need support. So okay, it moves, I'm happy. But if I want to tweak this, I need to go in the F curve, and I'm ending with kind of way too much things to deal with, and I don't need all that. So you need to clean that, you need to play. So my first suggestion will be to use as much as possible splines when you can, and you can draw some splines. So you can do only in one dimension, but you can also trace them. So you can use spline pen or sketch. So let's make something, I don't know, like that. And you can see that points are uneven. I will try to make something even more uneven, like that. And you can see that I have some distance there. You can still try to smooth a bit everything, but you will still end up with an uneven distance between points. Then you can like move here, make some adjustment, like if you want, to have these points there. Then you can try to move things to make something a bit different, but you will end up with a problem when you will animate your camera and you will animate along the spline. Animating the camera along the spline is something that will first be really useful because you will only deal with 2 keyframes. So it will be a lot easier in the keyframe editor. So let's set some keyframes. So here I have my movement. And if I open that in the F-curve, that's way easier to deal only with that. I have here my velocity. It's the speed curve, and here I have my value curves. So it's always nice to see the velocity. You can get the velocity by going into F-curve and show velocity. In After Effects, most of the time I animate the velocity curve, but in Cinema you can't animate the velocity curve. So first point, that's easier. That's way easier. Then you can right click, go to animation tag, target, and set a target to your cube. And then we will see something better than target for some case. And you can see my movement. But wow, why is it so strange, Because it's based on the point. It's based on the point space. So the more space you have between a point, the faster the movement will be. So if I have way more point here, you can see that the movement will be really different. And if I want something even, how I can do that? There's a simple solution. You can go to MoGraph, MoSpline. In MoSpline, you can go to Object, set it to Spline. You can drag and drop your spline into the spline menu. So spline here. And then you can set it to even. So you can choose a number of points. Maybe this will be enough. And then you need to edit your curve. But you will see some kind of magic happening. All the space is even. So let's change that to B-spline. And now let's go here and set it to MoSpline. Now let's try to have more space to visualize our movement. And then we can set that to linear. And you will see that the movement will be really linear. So it keeps the same speed all the time. And that's something great that most of the time people want, and they can't achieve that because of this technique. These techniques, I've learned that from Vimeo tutorial. I'm sorry, I can't remember who made that, but big up to the guy who showed this technique, because I struggled a lot before finding a solution. So big up to the guy who made this video. So that's the first thing. Let's talk now about the target object. So let's have a cube. Let's have different cube, and let's see. So I have my camera, and I can target an object, and that's an incredible stuff. So let's target our cube, and then I can like move all around my cube, and then I can change to another cube. Wow, but it's changing fast. So if I set keyframes, I will have like big gap. So another solution will be to use a null, and you're using the null here. But again, you will need to set a bunch of keyframes, but you can animate the null. And in most cases, it works, and it will allow you to have a bunch of control. But there's something that works also really nice, and sometimes it works better because when you are like going through objects, sometimes the target could make some kind of weird rotation. You can use the constraints. And the constraint sometimes is not working well when you are using align to spline. So you must know the two techniques to avoid problems. So let's go to rigging tag. Even if it's not rigging, you'll need to go to rigging. And if you don't use Cinema 4D Air 21, they change the tags, but it's still the same tags. So let's go to rigging, let's go to constraint, and you will find an aim constraint. And what I love about the aim constraint is you can see that I can add several targets. I have a weight for every target, and I can, animate strength. And that's crazy. That's crazy great, So let's add a target. And now you can see that it works like the same way. I can add another target. And I can deal with two targets. So it will make really fun movement, But let's try to change. And here you can change the weight here and there to target from one object to another. And that's pretty crazy if you animate something like that. Let's, I've ended up with some problems, so you can try to change. Sometimes you need to go back to something more like that. I'm struggling a bit, and then you can get back to a bigger strength, and it will work nice. I had this strange rotation happening because of my two targets, but now it's all fixed. So I'll just disable the strength, go back to something like that, and then I can, move from one object to another and animate that. So we can totally imagine having a movement, focusing on this object, and while you're moving, you are changing the weight and you are animating that, and you are on the other object and you move around this object, and it makes, nice rotation. Sometimes you will find great movement, and the way it aims to object is just a bit different from target, and sometimes rotation are better because they are not big move, but sometimes target is better. So that's something you should consider. Another thing that I really like is the camera morph. I think I've learned that with documentation, and there's one video that I suggest to my students. I've actually never watched it, but it's really nice. It's this video from Jan. He's a really nice guy, and he made this nice tutorial to help you understand how camera morph works. But I will show it really quickly. Basically, camera morph is you have your first camera, then you have a second camera. Maybe we want to change the angle to go for normal lens. Then you have again another camera, and maybe this time I want to go here and go to portrait. So I want to go from this camera to this camera, and maybe this camera. Maybe I will go there, I don't know, just to have something great. So I can hide all that, select all my cameras, and go to camera morph, and now I will be able to blend between all my cameras. You see camera 0, 1, 2. I have here a blend and a blend curve, and I can blend from camera, with camera 0, 1, 2 with a nice movement. And if I'm not happy, with a rotation or something, here I'm ending with some blank between cameras. I can still imagine, reworking the movement, or I can totally think about renaming my cameras. try to duplicate stuff and try to see if I can add an intermediate camera. So that will be better. So let's go to morph camera, and then I add my intermediate camera. Go back to here, and I can try to fix my problem. So that's a pretty ugly movement. I totally admit it, but that's the workflow. And the nice thing is, again, you can like move the blend, and you only deal with 2 keyframes. So in the F curve, it's quite easier to understand that having X, Y, and Z to deal with. Again, in some case, you want to control X, Y, and Z if you want high-end animation, but most of the time, for cameras, for animation, I totally understand, but for cameras, I personally want to keep things simple. And again, if you have like many keyframes and you want to control, and let's say, oh, I want here like slow motion, and then I want the movement to be even faster. Let me show you a concept that I discovered on Vimeo by the past. Again, I can't remember the name, but A-Design made a video on that, so big up A-Design for this video. You are so nice, dude. Made A-Design time remapping, and this, like, I suggest this video to all my students. They are like mind blown by the technique, and again, I suggest A-Design channel to all my students because it's really nice, you know, for someone who doesn't know or start with Cinema 4D, the tips and tricks, and it's really amazing. And this dude have really nice style. The sketch and tune stuff is just mind-blowingly cool, and yeah, really a nice person, nice content, like everything is nice. So subscribe to A-Design. So I will quickly show you the concept that you can apply to the camera. I will quickly show it to the cube, so it will be easier to understand. So we have our cube. We want to animate the Z position, so we have like 0. Let's go to 50, and let's go here. Okay, let's set that to linear. And using this concept in combination with only 2 keyframes, like on a morph camera or on a spline, will really help you to control everything. And I will now create a small null, and we can call that like retime. Let's go to window, let's go to our dub sheet, and we can see nothing in the dub sheet, so don't cry, no worries. You can like drag and drop objects. Oh wow, it's amazing. You can drag and drop the retime. Excuse me for having fun in my own tutorials. I'm asking myself sometimes when I watch some dudes and doing tutorials over YouTube, and I'm like, do these guys are suffering? You know, I know we are doing 3D and it could be hard, but you know, they are like, okay, you must to do that. And now, yeah. So I try to have fun because I really love doing tutorials. So let's right click here. Let's add special track, a time track. We can even rename that. So time cube. It could be the name of a game, I don't know. And we need to apply that to our cube. Here we have a time track, so let's drag and drop our time track. And the special thing that will happen, you can see that our animation is like made between 0 to 50 keyframes. And if I want to have it like the whole keyframe, like you have a super camera movement with a bunch of keyframes, but you'll know that selecting everything and extend will mess up. So we can add a time track. So let's add our time track here, time cube. And now you can see that my animation will take the whole timeline. That's pretty cool because we can make a bunch of changes. So let's go to our dub sheet. Let's try to see everything, and we can like change that. You know, I can make it shorter, and it will be shorter, obviously. But I can make crazy stuff, like I want to maybe expand that to here, and I want like a slow motion from here to here. Again, you can select stuff and like change it to linear. And here, let's select this keyframe and just change. Don't like put that below here because it will like go back in the past and change. So I don't want that. I want the movement to like be in slow motion. Let's see if that works, and let's see what it does. You can see real slow motion, and then it evolves. So imagine you have your perfect camera movement with the camera morph, but your client say, hey, I want to stay 1 second more on this object. Imagine tweaking again the keyframe, the cameras, and the F curves. No, you just need to add a retime. Works well. So combine simple tools like camera morph, like animating along a spline, use the multipline stuff, retime, and again, thing that I tell to my student is I will take the example of this film, but you know, you have some kind of movement, and our eyes like we watch a lot of films, and even in 3D we love to see the things we see in the film. For example, here we can see we have some kind of no movement, like the camera is like a still camera, and that's always the case in like in 3D. You will never have some handheld camera or Steadicam effect, so you need to recreate it to make the movement even more realistic, like if it was a film. Here we have like, you know, some movement because it was a chase. Here no movement. When they are like going to the fight, you know, we have a bunch of movement. Here no movement. So when you are doing your 3D films, you want to make like movement like if it was real. So you can use the camera crane, for example. That's a great little tool that you can add in a null to control it, move it, and it will add some constraint to that. But you have more tools than that. Sorry, I'm French. I can messed up in English. A French who speak English is still something incredible. Trust me, really. So I can right click and add a motion camera tag, or I can go to my camera and go to motion camera, and I will have this sexy dude handling my camera. And the nice thing is that this sexy dude can really mess up your film. Like if you go to motion and you can add him some ego, he will destroy things, trust me. So okay, you can like add some movement. Wow, that's crazy. So let's have our cube here. I just delete keyframes. That's my noob moment. I need to have a noob moment. A normal guy will edit his tutorial and show everybody how cool he is. But I'm the real guy. I show you that every people, even big professional, are like struggling with basic stuff. That's totally okay. So here I have my movement. And then you can animate the null. Then you can make a bunch of things, and that's a great tool. And someone made a tool that's even better, in my opinion, but that's a paid tool. It's a Grayscale Gorilla. They made this nice tool called Gorilla Cam, and basically it adds some of the movement that you can find in the real camera, but you will find more stuff like an overshoot, and making an overshoot was quite complicated by the past. Like you need to go to Expresso, and my friend Lil Guy Design found a solution. Like you can use the delay effector and try to in Espresso match the delay to your camera, and that was working, you know, but that's something for advanced users, and for beginners it's like better to use simple tools, and even for professional, you know. So you have realistic shake, you have smoothing, really nice, you have overshoot, you can make focal drift and jolt. So when you're doing 3D, you want to create small imperfections. It will make the fake even more real. So big up to Grayscale Gorilla for developing this tool, and that's a tool that I own and I love. So bunch of stuff, but just to say, I will not show you how to use it, but just to say, think that you need to add some imperfection in some case, like think your 3D like a film. If you have something with camera and L camera and all that stuff. I hope this video helped. I hope this video you had a nice time, you laughed with me, and if not, no worries. I was happy to do it. So hope you will improve your camera game in cinema, and if you know other plugin tools or little tips and tricks that could help people, please let me know, and see you really soon.